everybody! How are you all? I hope you're well. Welcome to my dimly lit room. I worked until about 1 a.m. yesterday, which was actually super fun. I worked at the movie theater, popcorn, pretzel bites, mopping floors, the like, but hey, I get free movies and movie posters, so can't complain. Anyway, because I'm feeling a little tired today, and it's not super bright out, I thought, I haven't done a tag in a while, and those don't require quite as much brain power as I would typically invest into a video, but they're still super fun. So today we're gonna do the mid-year booktube freakout tag. I think that's what it's called. Mid-year book freakout tag, that one. Best book you've read so far in 2021. Oh man, that's tough, but honestly, I think I'm gonna have to say There by Tommy Orange, because that's the one that popped into my head immediately. There is about a bunch of different characters, a huge ensemble of Native and Indigenous characters who all gather at the same powwow in Oakland, California, and it's about the ways in which they arrived at that powwow, their histories, generational trauma, but also generational joy and celebration and love. And it's the most impactful book I've read in quite a while. It had been hyped up to me for ages, and rightfully so. I would absolutely recommend it. And the cover is also beautiful, and Tommy Orange is just an incredible writer. I know it's not for some people. It's much more character-based than plot-based, but brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Best sequel I've read so far in 2021. Have I read a sequel in 2021? One sec, let me check my books on Goodreads. I'm gonna say that the Agatha Christie books I read don't count because I have not read them in order, and you don't need to read one in order to understand the next. So the only sequel I've read this year is for a book I haven't read. I haven't read the first one, but I read the second one, and that is Three Keys by Kelly Yang. This is about our main character, Mia, and her family. They have immigrated to California from China, and they own a motel called the Cala Vista. This book is just fantastic, and I usually don't rate sequels unless I've read the first book, because I just don't think that's fair, but because this one was so brilliant, I rated it highly on its own merit. It deals with really deep and important topics such as immigration and the United States' horrible handling of said immigration, particularly at the US-Mexico border. It talked about xenophobia, racism, sexism, all through the lens of a child who has so much optimism and hope and love for the world and the people around her. It's a story of friendship and coming of age in the world we really live in. It doesn't glamorize anything, and I really appreciated that. If I ever have children, or even just the kids I babysit, I would love to read this book to them. New release you haven't read yet but want to. Literally, I don't think I've read a single book on my video that I made about new releases I was excited for 2021, so literally every single one of those. But I've been seeing Arsenic and Adobo pop up really frequently as like a cozy murder mystery, and I cannot get enough of murder mysteries, okay? They're my literal favorite of all time, ever, end of the day. So I definitely want to get to that one soon. I think Merphy Napier read it recently, and I refuse to watch her reviews, even if they're spoiler-free, until I read the book, because I love to talk to her and just read the comments about the book itself, so I need to get on that one as soon as possible. Most anticipated release for the second half of the year. I don't actually know what's coming out in the second half of the year. Let me look it up. Let's see if there's anything coming out in around October, because that's my birthday, so that's the month that I'll probably get the most books this year. I'm turning 18. I'm gonna be a real legal human. I can vote! I'm so excited. No. It says Aristotle and Dante dive into the waters of the world. Is that a sequel to Secrets of the Universe? Oh my gosh, okay, I don't know anything about it, but if it is, that one, because I loved that book. I think that's a beautiful YA, and perhaps the best YA I've read. I think I read it last year, but the best YA I've read recently. Biggest disappointment of 2021. Oof, I don't want to be mean. You know what? I'm gonna have to say Gingerbread by Helen Oyemi. I was so excited for this book. It's kind of like a fairy tale, and it's written beautifully, and the language is delicious, and the author narrates the audiobook, which is like my favorite thing in the world. I could not get into this book. I don't really DNF books. I like to give them a really good shot, and I try to get through them all. I DNF'd this book at like 78% or something, and I feel really bad about it because I was really looking forward to it, and I've heard really great things about Helen Oyemi's writing. I couldn't do it. So hopefully that's one I'll get around to soon. And I know Oyemi has a bunch of other books that I definitely want to check out. As I mentioned, their writing is superb and scrumptious even. I know that's a weird way to describe language, but it's just so potent and rich. And I really hope I can pick it up again because I enjoyed the premise and the language, but not quite where the story was heading, if that makes any sense. Number 6 is your biggest surprise. Ooh, you know what? Okay, here's the deal. I am a socialist, okay? The book for me that was the biggest surprise was Bob Iger's autobiography, the ex-CEO of Disney, which is like Capitalism Supreme, Capitalism with Whipped Cream and Cherry on Top. It's called The Ride of a Lifetime, Lessons Learned from 15 Years as CEO of the Walt Disney Company. I did not expect to like this, and I picked it up for kind of a duo reason. So firstly was I was reading a book called Why Women Have Better Sex Under Socialism by Kristen Argozzi. And I did not want my APUS history teacher to once again tell me about the dangers of confirmation bias. I know, I got it. But it is true that it's good to balance out what you're reading, and this was like a light way to do that. I also read it because I'm mentally ill, and returning to things that are comforting to me, whether that be Disney movies or rereading books, is a way that I find to cope with my mental illness, and I think it's a really productive way for me personally. So I thought this would be a good way to try something new while also relying on some nostalgia. And I actually really enjoyed it. I enjoyed learning about his life and his journey under Disney, under ABC. I didn't care so much about acquisitions. It does go into a lot of detail in the acquisitions of particularly Pixar and also slightly Marvel, which is great because Spider-Man, but also military propaganda, darling. So yeah, wasn't expecting to like it, but I genuinely found it entertaining and had no problem picking up the audiobook. I would even go so far as to say I was excited to turn it on while brushing my teeth at 2 a.m. every morning. Favorite new author, debut or new to you? Ooh, I'm gonna have to say Sayaka Murata. I read The Convenience Store Woman at the very beginning of this year, and I adored it. I really love surrealist Japanese fiction, borderline fantasy. So Haruki Murakami, I really tend to enjoy. Sayaka Murata, I potentially liked even better. I loved this story. I loved its simplicity. It was really quirky. It had really unique characters and characterization and voice. It just felt very true, but also like the author had a lot of fun writing it, which I think is just a blast to experience as a reader. I know Sayaka Murata also has another book, at least, maybe a couple, so I'm gonna have to look into those because I can't stop thinking about that book. Like, it was relatively short, but I'll be picking up The Dog Run and think, oh my gosh, remember how in January you were doing this exact same task and listening to that great book? We should do that again. Newest fictional crush. Ooh, that's fun. Who is my newest fictional crush? I don't know, maybe Ravi from A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, which I really enjoyed and finished earlier this month. Or maybe last month, can't remember. Time blurs. Oh, you know what? Benny from The Queen's Gambit. Need I say more? Hi, dogs. 9, newest favorite character. Good question. I could answer Beth from Queen's Gambit, but wow. They have great timing. I don't know. Maybe Jay from Patron Saints of Nothing? I don't know if that's a new favorite character, but I read quite a bit of nonfiction this year, I guess, and it's either Jay, Beth, or, Tinkerbell from Disney Fairy Collections #1. I'm sorry, I don't have a great answer for that one. I'll have to get back to you. 10, book that made you cry. Oh my goodness, so many. I'm gonna have to say When the Rainbow is Enough by Entezake Shange. Here's why it made me cry. Obviously, the content in this, it's a choreo poem, which I'd never read before. That style, that genre, that technique, and it was brilliant. And if I get to see the stage performance of it one day, I might die of excitement. An exquisite application and execution of language. So that in itself made me cry. And then the stories were also incredibly complex and deep and nuanced and real. And it made me cry because it was sad, also because it was stunningly beautiful. And I think everybody should read that. It's relatively quick. Check it out ASAP. A book that made you happy. These are all depressing. Okay, The Elephant's Girl by Celeste Remington, this was her debut book, I think, I could be wrong, she is coming out with a new one relatively soon, maybe out already, who's to say, but this is about our main character. His name is Lexington Willow, or Lex, and she is an orphan because she lives in Nebraska, and when she was younger, a tornado took her from her home and deposited her at the zoo, where she was rescued from the storm by an elephant named Naya, and it's about her connection with the elephant Naya. There's some magic. It's about family and friendship and chosen family, which is one of my favorite tropes. I did narrate this book, so I'm potentially mildly biased, but I loved it. Every time I sat down to narrate, I was super excited, and I can't say the same for some other books I've narrated. Most beautiful book you've bought so far this year or received. Oh. So, I know you can't see me, I'll be right there. It's between two books. It's either going to be my new copy of The Secret Garden, which I got the Mina Lima illustrated edition of, or my copy of Nick, which is the new retelling of Nick's story from Great Gatsby, aka our pal Tobey Maguire. And before I show you, may I just take this moment to brag about the fact that I won a copyright dispute with Warner Brothers Films over Great Gatsby 2013, so now I can lambast it to my heart's content. It really made my day. Anyway, here's the copy of Nick. I actually got this delivered from England because it was cheaper than the US, which makes zero sense. So this hard copy from England was cheaper than the paperback on Amazon. So this is it. I just think it's a beautiful cover. I love the recreation of kind of the typical Gatsby cover. But what made it really special is I have never in my life owned a book with sprayed edges. And that was a big thing, I think, last year and maybe always on BookTube. And so over time, I thought, that's really pretty. I'd like one. And I didn't know this was going to be with sprayed edges, but it is. And it's this gorgeous blue color, so that made my day. Oh, you know what? I actually have three. This is my copy of The Secret Garden by Frances Hodgson Burnett. I saved up for this for quite a while. I was actually planning on getting Peter Pan, ended up with this one, which I mentioned in one video previous. Maybe it was my summer book haul, but look at it. Just take it all in. Oh my goodness, the bird on the back. The most beautiful book I've ever owned, and I'm really happy to have it. Okay, and then this is the last one that I was going to show you. I haven't read it yet, which is a travesty because it came out a decent amount of time ago. This is Concrete Rose by Angie Thomas, which you've probably heard plenty about, the prequel to The Hate U Give. So not only is the cover art really beautiful and well done, the actual book itself is this, oops, sorry, I moved you a little, is this lovely red color. But what really makes this special is, so Angie Thomas is great, obviously, and I accidentally, I don't think it was intentional, bought a special edition of The Hate U Give. And so when this came out, I was like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if I got kind of another special copy? So I got the signed first edition, which is just amazing. So that's just something fun. I don't really have many special editions of books, so when I get them, it's always a special treat. What books do you need to read by the end of the year? Oh man, I don't know. Do I need to read any? No. Would I like to? Absolutely. I'd really like to finish the books I started a million years ago, like The Poppy War, which I really like. I just haven't finished it, which is pathetic, and I don't have a reason that's valid whatsoever. You know what? I actually really want to read Conversations with Friends by Sally Rooney, because the film is well on its way to being made, and Joe Alwyn is in. Joe Alwyn? Is it Alwyn? I saw a video of him pronouncing it, and I was really surprised because it's not what I thought it was. I think it's Alwyn. Taylor Swift's Joe, is going to be in it, and gotta support Taylor Swift, even if it's passive through her boyfriend. Also, I just enjoy Sally Rooney, Normal People is great. I think I filmed my video about it in this here dress, so what a coincidence. What a jolly good time. All right, and last but not least, favorite book community members. Bookish Realm, adore, probably my favorite booktuber of all time. Merphy Napier, I really tend to enjoy. Let me look at my subscriptions. Carly is hilarious, and she's almost at 100K, which is so exciting. I've really been enjoying both Morgan Long, who is great and has supported my channel for a bit, so thank you, Morgan, if you're watching this, and Darling Desi's channels. They're both pretty aesthetic in their own ways, beautiful cinematography with a bookish twist, which is dazzling. I think I'm gonna have to go with Onyx Pages, which I haven't actually watched very many of their videos, but I know they make a ton of Octavia Butler content, who is my favorite ever, really. So I definitely want to watch more of their videos. I've just started to, and I'm really enjoying them. So yeah, thank you all so much for being here. That concludes the mid-year book freakout tag. I think I got it right that time. I hope maybe you got some recommendations. I'd love to hear about your reading this past year, even your movie watching, TV watching. I've been watching a lot of movies lately, which has detracted from books slightly, but that's okay. Media in all of its forms is wonderful and valid. And with that, I'll say adieu for now, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.